Do this. There one. There one. We already got one like. Damn, that's love. I have like a consistent place I put this damn thing. Ah, not God day. There one. All right. So as always, we're gonna begin when we get 15 people in here. Today, I'm going to be talking about how learning AAVE or knowing AAVE makes learning Igbo easier, or the link between the two languages, right? That kind of thing, whether you call AAVE a language or a dialect of English, however you want to put it. One of the things that has to be acknowledged is that there is a very specific structure to AAVE that is unique in the English language family, I guess, if you want to call it that, and that kind of thing. And that thing can actually help you learn the Igbo language easier. There's a very clear link between the two of them. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Damn, we got 7 people in here already. Ndewo. Snapple Cat says that these hype. Ndewo, you got my attention. All right. Ndewo, ndewo. Damn, all right. Maybe 15 is too low of a goal. All right, I'll keep it at 15 though, no problem. So once we hit 15, I'm going to go ahead and break down the link between them. I even made a little sketch out for you guys to kind of see it visually. So right now we got 9 people in here and 5 likes. Let's go ahead and get to 9 likes. I don't know who is in here who has not hit like. Go ahead and hit like. Let's catch up. We want to be 9-9. We got 9 people in here and 5 likes. Those 3 or how many? I don't know the division on that. 3. Those 4 people that are holding their likes, go ahead and hit that thing. Hit that thing. Today we're going to be talking about the link between AAVE and Igbo. AAVE and Igbo. And this is actually something that the students at Kedu pointed out to me, right? For those who don't know, can I make a video suggestion? All right, give me a video suggestion. I'd love to hear it. So those of you who don't know, I have an Igbo language school at www.kedu.me.com. And it was actually the students at kedu.me that pointed a lot of this out to me, right? They pointed this out to me. Especially those who are born and raised from or in the or Black American culture, that kind of thing. So they're the ones that pointed this out to me and let me see that there were very clear links between the way they speak their language and the way Igbo people speak theirs, though they are Igbo people too. So it's hard to put that together grammatically. Let me see what I can do here. Give me just 1 second. We're going to wait till we get 15 people in here. We got 11 people and 1 person is holding on the like. I don't know what I did to you. I don't know why you're holding on to this like. If you're the 1 person who has not hit like, go ahead and hit like. All right, we're at 1310. Once we get to 15, I'm going to go ahead and start. There are a few things. I actually want to post this on Instagram, see if we can get some of the Instagram people in here. So those of you who are on IG, if you want to post this, I don't know if you can post links or what. I barely know how Instagram works. But if you can post a link or something, let people know that this is what we're doing right now. We're discussing the link between AAVE and the Igbo language. We are at 14. If we got 1 more person, we're good to go. What is the video suggestion? Somebody gave me a video suggestion. Can I make a video suggestion? Can you please make a video about how women can participate? No, Denani, I would love that. The way men have specific things, there are very few things women can do. That's mill. It is not true that there are few things for women. There are a lot of things for women. In fact, there's either as much for women or more, right? One of the issues is that women at home tend to be more Christian, and they tend to be the kind of Christian where they don't even want to look in the other direction, right? Whereas the men, even when they're Christian, they're more, they're more flexible, and a lot of their traditions they still upkeep. So it's not that there's not a lot for women. It's that the traditions that we now associate with Igbo culture are specifically Igbo men's culture. But I will absolutely do a video on that. The best way to get me to do a video is 1, if you're a patron, you can recommend it on Patreon. And then 2, if you're a subscriber, or if you just want to comment under one of the YouTube videos, hey, can you do a video on this? What I'll do is I go to all the suggestions within a period of time, and I have the patrons on patreon.com/themedicineshell vote which one they want to see next. So to really get your suggestion in, join the Patreon at patreon.com/themedicineshell. We're at 20. That was easy. All right, we're at 20. So let me finish my thought, then we'll hop on to the topic. So the best way to get a topic is post it as a comment if you're not a patron. Otherwise, recommend it on Patreon. We'll put it up for vote. Okay. But yeah, there are a lot of traditions for women. It just seems that women are not as interested as men. And one of my goals is to get women more interested, but I'm not necessarily the messenger for that because I'm a man. So, maybe the female medicine show will step up soon and start doing her thing. And when she does it, I'll put my full support behind her. So that being said, we are at 20 people. Our original goal was 15. We hit that one fast. So I guess this topic is a little more interesting than normal. So as always, I'm going to begin by breaking AAVE. Then we're going to get on to the topic. The topic at hand is the link between AAVE and the Igbo language. The link between AAVE and the Igbo language. And this particular link has shown me that once you understand it, it is easy to transition from speaking AAVE to speaking Igbo, right? Because a lot of what you're doing when you're speaking AAVE is you're speaking English with Igbo word order and word and rules in speaking and that kind of thing. And I'll show you guys how in a minute. All right. So every proper meeting in the culture begins with the breaking of AAVE. So that is what we're going to do today. Okike kerua, alawala, ala nemado na nemo, ala morai nine, ala nenyendu, nenye ike, nenye nyama noa, ma omumumuruwa, na ikenga, na anyị na-aga ọjị abịala. Ọjị m ji n'aka bụ ọjị ndị iche anyị, ọjị ndị mbụ, ọjị ndị egede, ọjị ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ. Ọjị nke ga-ebute uche, ọjị nke ga-ebute ndụ, ọjị nke ga-ebute ihe ọma, mana ihe ọbụla itiri aka ọ ga-adị, ọ ga-eto, ị ga-afụ ya n'ụwa na ịfụrụ ya na uche gị. Ọ ga-adị nnọọ n'eke na orie na afọ na nkwọ ise. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. The link between AAVE and the Igbo language. So if you are interested in learning the Igbo language, first of all, let me do the plug. www.kedu.me. So if you're interested in learning the Igbo language, I have an Igbo language school at www.kedu.me. I'm actually just coming out of our last day of this quarter, our last day, like celebration, send off, farewell moments. And so that particular, Kedu.me, we have 3 different levels. Of course, if you've never spoken Igbo before, I recommend starting at Igbo 1. You are paired with a coach, and this is somebody who you can speak to, who's going to call you and speak to you in the Igbo language. You're going to speak back to them, even if you know one little word. If you don't know any words at all, just speaking to you, helping you get comfortable and confident in your speaking so that you can, when you do come out in public and start speaking to other people, you know what you're doing. You have a strong grasp on things. I'm very grateful to have her on the team. She's very open-minded, very understanding. So you can talk to her, talk about anything with her. Then you also have an instructor, and I'm very happy to have a very competent, very focused, very effective instructor who's going to guide you piece by piece with the Igbo language. So those 2 things come together. Within 3 months, you'll be speaking the language. 3 months, you'll be speaking the language, right? And if you speak AAVE, if you're already somebody who speaks AAVE, trust me, it is going to be an easier journey for you than you think. It is going to be ndalo, ndewo, nunine, ndewo, chimoge. Chimoge is just coming from from our last day's celebration as far as Kedu goes from Igbo 2, right? And so one of the things this is how this all came together. So I'm teaching these things, and every now and then, and funny enough, I'm not normally the teacher, but I had a substitute for Igbo 2 this time, which is fine because Igbo 2, a lot of Igbo 2 is like understanding the psychology of the language and kind of making that switch from speaking Oyibo and thinking Oyibo to speaking Igbo and thinking Igbo, which that is my specialty. I can do that. So one of the things that we encountered a lot in Igbo 2 was people kept pointing out, this sounds like patois, right? We have somebody in there who's Jamaican. She may or may not be in here. Shout out to her. This sounds like patois, this particular phrase, right? The phrase, one of the phrases I remember is we were explaining how in the Igbo language, you can take a word like bu, like like boo, right? You can take a word like boo. Hard to define what boo is. And then you can add things to the end that add different levels of extremity, or it changes the verb, right? So every Igbo word is based on a verb, right? The verb is the core of the word, and then the things you put in the beginning and the end turn that verb into a noun or tell you how extreme that verb is, right? So typically when you see fu at the end of, when you see fu at the end of a verb, it means that they have done that verb to the point of being lost, right? So we were talking about bufu, which is like when somebody's so big that they're useless, like uselessly big, right? My mom used to say, "God bufu ka buffalo," like you're just right? That kind of thing. So bufu, you add that kind of thing. And she goes, we say that in Jamaica. We say bufu. Bufu is like a big, like useless person, that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, that's funny. And then as we kept going, more things kept getting brought up by Igbo 1 students, Igbo 2 students, that type of thing. And then I really sat down and thought about this because beyond the patois, then the AAVE comparisons kept coming together, right? One of the ones was nejeje, which literally it's how you say going in the Igbo language, right? But it literally means going. Or if you break it down literally, it's going, right? That kind of thing. So people be like, oh, okay, it's like going. Okay, yeah, like I understand that, right? It's going is different from going, right? Are you going or are you going? Two different phrases. The exact same thing in the Igbo language. You can say neje, and you can say nejenje, two different things, but you know what I mean, same thing, right? So I put this together, and there's a really good article online. In fact, I might actually do a whole video on this when I do more in-depth research and that kind of thing. But these are the few things I wanted to bring up, right? Okay, so take a look at this, right? This is going to be real old school. So what you're looking at here, if you pay attention to, and I hope you guys can still hear me very well, if you pay attention to the colors, because you're not going to be able to read my handwriting, so pay attention to the colors because that's going to really tell you what's going on, right? The colors are the different portions of the language. I hope this is upside down. No, it's not. So it's looking backwards to me, but I think that's how the camera works. So pay attention to the colors, right? So in the first one we have here, right? We have Oyibo. The next one is AAVE. The next one is Igbo, right? Okay, so first one is Oyibo. She is beautiful. Now pay attention to the colors. She, noun, subject, that kind of thing. Is, I guess qualifier, I guess is the term for it. Beautiful, right? Descriptor. AAVE, she beautiful, right? She beautiful. Igbo, Omara. The is goes away. And one of the reasons this one stuck out was because a lot of times, even when I was trying to learn Igbo, the word for is bu and di. But if I say Odimara or Obumara, I'd be wrong. It'd be wrong. So when I was trying to learn Igbo, and I'm still in the process of learning, when I was trying to learn Igbo, I would put di and bu in weird places, like places they didn't belong, because I wanted to say is so bad. Because in English, okay, this is good, right? This is good. So I kept wanting to say nye dimma, which is fine or whatever. But I can also just say odimma, right? Odimma, which is closer to it's good, that kind of thing. So taking away that is, which is a normal feature in AAVE, taking away the is, the are, and that kind of thing, and just going from word to word, right? Which when you're doing that, that is actually a better way of speaking Igbo than adding the is all over the place. If you got too many d everywhere, it starts looking like maybe like you like you maybe pick this shit up from like Google Translate or something, or like it just doesn't look, it's not right, that kind of thing, or it doesn't sound natural, right? That kind of thing. But if you follow the word structure in AAVE, and this works for every sentence you can find, the words that you drop in Oyibo, the words that you drop in Oyibo are the words you drop when transitioning from Oyibo to AAVE are the exact same words you drop when you transition from Igbo to Oyibo or vice versa, right? So if the is goes away in AAVE, the is also goes away in Igbo. Now apply this across the board, right? Because I feel like AAVE is like the language of the internet anyway. So those who don't speak it, or at least very familiar with it. So apply that across the board. Think of all the places where is, are, and that kind of thing are dropped in AAVE. It's the exact same thing in Igbo. So when you're learning Igbo, right, it would be easier for you to go from thinking in AAVE and then speaking Igbo than it would be for you to go from thinking in Oyibo and speaking Igbo, right? All right, so here's another example of something that can also help. And I really hope you guys can read this, right? The first one I have here is Oyibo. The second one is AAVE. The next one is Igbo, right? So the first one, I already said this one too, really going, right? Y'all commenting, making, I can't see this thing. So the first one is really going, right? In AAVE, I can say going, right? In Igbo, I can also say jeje, jeje, that type of thing, right? These parallels over and over and over, that repetition, repeating a verb to add meaning to it in AAVE, right, is a primary feature in Igbo language. Ne meme, na gaga, ne jeje, ne lele, all those different things are normal. Going. Or are they fighting, right? That kind of thing. The exact same thing in Igbo, right? The next one I wanted to point out, and there's like hundreds of these. I mean, it's infinite, right? When I'm saying these things, don't just focus on going. Think of the structures. That's why I made sure that the colors are visible, right? It's a structural thing, right? So the next one is over here, right? Oyibo will say going to eat, right? This particular example is how in Igbo and AAVE, when words are said next to each other, they become one word, right? They become one word. This is a normal feature in the Igbo language. Oftentimes, like when people are speaking, for a new listener, it's hard to pick up where one word begins and another one ends. I think that's half of the battle of figuring out how to comprehend the Igbo language, right? It's very similar to AAVE. In AAVE, oftentimes words will just mesh into each other, right? And the way they mesh is that the last part gets dropped and mixed with, if it fits well, fit with the next coming thing, right? So going to eat, Oyibo, gon eat. I don't speak AAVE, by the way, so that sounds crazy as hell. Going to eat, gon eat. Gary, you understand? Look at this. Gary, same thing. That too goes away in AAVE and Igbo. And Gary is short for Gaeri, but the A and the E just become the same thing. That's why fixing the E in AAVE a lot of times is finny. It just becomes one word, finny, that kind of thing, right? We finny, that kind of thing. So these parallels kept getting brought up to me over and over and over, and I started looking into them, and I started seeing that it was a thing, like it's a real thing. And I have students. For example, in Kedu, we have a student from North Carolina. He's actually the person that gave me the idea to come out and speak about this, right? I have a student from North Carolina, has picked up the language very fast, right? Like very fast. Has been doing it for about 3 months, and he can converse. We can talk, that kind of thing, right? Him pointing out these parallels to me gave me a different eye on it, right? Because I'm seeing how fast he picked this thing up. Right? Now, of course, he worked hard. He put his own effort into it. But I don't doubt that there's a link between how he grew up speaking and this new language that he's learning, right? Remembering maybe, right? That kind of thing. So that was it. I'm going to do a video that goes a little bit more in depth on the whole thing. But yeah, it's this very similar thing. People are bringing up different examples, right? In AAVE, you drop the last part. In a lot of words, you drop the last part, right? You drop the last part. So if somebody says together, right? It's not that they can't say together. They can if they wanted to, but the shit's awkward, right? So they drop the last part, and then it'll mix with whatever comes next. So that it all just flows together. The last part, right? And this is the part that we really focus on in Igbo too. If you're not speaking Igbo with rhythm, you're not going to speak it correctly. Speaking Igbo is closer to what an American English speaker would associate with singing than with speaking. Because with English, it's really just about getting the words out, right? You just say the words. As long as you said the words, you're good to go. But with Igbo, there's so much feeling in the language that you have to use the rhythm. You have to learn the rhythm of the language to make things work. Now, you can go to all the other Igbo schools and things like that, and they'll tell you, like, oh, this is the high tone, this is the low tone, this is the, no, that's, you know, right? That kind of thing. And I'm still working on tonality, fine, you understand. But one of the things is just my grandmother has never heard of high tone, low tone. So whenever we're putting things together as far as the curriculum, I always think, did my grandmother encounter this? No, she didn't. All right, throw it out, right? That kind of thing. So my grandmother has never heard high tone, low tone, right? That kind of thing. But she speaks Igbo immaculately and perfectly and like with excellent diction, right? And what's the difference between her and, you know, people are learning it from like a book or in an academic way? She's learning it as it is. She's learning Igbo as Igbo. She's learning an African language as an African rather than trying to learn it in the European way. Now, of course, you can learn Igbo in the academic way, but there are nuances that you're not going to catch if you don't approach it like an African language, right? And one of the things about Africa, especially the Kwa languages, is that they have a rhythm. You have to sing them. If I were to speak English the way I speak Igbo, I would sound like this. This is how I would end up talking to you. And this is just how we talk. And it's just what it is. And if you don't use this rhythm, you're saying things incorrectly. And if you teach people this rhythm, you don't have to bother about high tone, low tone. That's how it is with that kind of thing, right? Now, if I really get flowing, it'll sound like I'm singing a song. You understand, right? That type of thing. Now, same thing with AAVE. Same thing with AAVE. The reason I say I don't speak AAVE is because I know the words and things like that, but I don't have the rhythm. And so when I say it, it sounds like you can, he's not from here, right? That kind of thing. There's a rhythm to AAVE. You ever notice them little white people that make like fake black people accounts and they try to like talk like, I'm gonna get, yeah, that, you know. They try to talk in like fake AAVE and you know they're fake because the thing is just not flowing. Even when they type it, it just doesn't have like a, what's the term somebody used? It doesn't have like soul, I guess. It doesn't have the soul, right? That kind of thing, right? Because when you're speaking AAVE, the rhythm is as important as what you're saying. The rhythm is as important as what you're saying. When you're speaking Igbo, the rhythm is as important as what you're saying. And the same applies to the other languages in the region too, Yoruba, so on and so forth, right? That kind of thing. Right. So those were the parallels that I saw. It was something that I wanted to bring up, especially that we're wrapping up this quarter with Kedu. I wanted to see some of you guys as cousins. Peace from Yaedo's cousin. Hey, peace, Todd. Peace, Todd. Yeah, that's what's up. Let's see. Hype for this one. I'm going to see if you guys have any questions. You know how I get confused in this section when I'm looking through these things. But yeah, if you're trying to learn Igbo, do not be afraid of learning it as an AAVE speaker, right? It's going to get you to learning it quicker than if you try to approach it with what people at home call Oyibo. You know? I saw the video on TikTok breaking the link with Yoruba syntax and grammar. Yeah, awesome, Chika. Thank you for that. Yoruba and Igbo are in the same language family, Kwa. So a lot of the things that I'm saying apply for Yoruba as well, right? Also apply for some of the languages in Ghana. I think all the languages in like southern Ghana, like Twi, all those, that kind of thing. And with all the languages you're going to encounter as far as people in the diaspora due to like the transatlantic slave trade. It gets a little different when, here's the thing, Igbo has a connection to the Bantu languages that Yoruba doesn't have, right? And Igbo has a connection to the Kwa languages that the Bantu languages don't have. So Igbo is kind of like a median language, you understand? So a lot of these features, these language features are either coming from Kwa or they're coming from Bantu, but they both exist in Igbo. They both exist in Igbo, yeah. They both exist in the Igbo language, that kind of thing. And that's what makes it very special, right? Do you know about Gullah Geechee dialects too? I'm actually trying to do an interview or like have a conversation during one of my lives with somebody who is Geechee, because there's a lot there that I want to learn about personally, and a lot there that I'm seeing in my research that I kind of wanted to talk about. I think that one of the things that's special about Geechee people is that um, the folk element, I guess what they call folk elements of the culture, are still very loud and clear with them, right? They're still very loud and clear. And so it's easier to make connections and point things out, like, oh, that comes from here, this comes from there, or oh, okay, this is you guys' version of this. Over here we do it this way, over here you guys do it that way, that kind of thing. So I wanted to have a conversation with somebody from there. I don't know if somebody wants to reach out to Kwame Brown or something. I don't know anybody who's Gullah. So if you guys know somebody who'd be interesting for me to talk to, just send me a recommendation. And try to reach out for them for me. I'm not good at reaching out to these internet people. Because we are Igbos among tribes such as Yoruba, Ibibio, by blood and ancestry, especially those of Gullah ancestry. He said, yeah. Okay, so Chimoge had pointed this. This is another one that Chimoge pointed out in class. Chimoge had said, hold on, wait. Imelagi, right? Imelagi. Okay, so he had pointed out the phrase Imelagi. It's a common question in a place called Ohafia. There's a village in Igbo land, or it's hard to call it a village, it's a town. There's a town in Igbo land known as Ohafia, and they greet each other with Imelagi. I'm not going to say it correctly. Imelagi, right? Now, this particular phrase literally means, are you doing you, right? Are you doing you, right? That kind of thing. Phrases like do you, all those things, they're all directly in the Igbo language. So as you guys can tell, I'm really gingered in this particular talk because I'm very excited about this topic, right? When somebody, hey, call me back anytime soon. Yes, nice. Okay. It's so funny when outsiders try to speak AAVE. It sounds all wrong. LOL. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't speak it. You know that 100% right. I heard an actor say that the hardest person to act as is a black American man because of there's like rhythm nuances in the language and things like that. So yeah, that kind of thing. So. Finna, yes, right, that kind of thing. Remembering is the best Christian. Okay, do a proper in-depth video. Hassan, I think I'm gonna do that. About I know wanna shall. Yeah, exactly, 100%. I'm just reading comments, y'all. Throw them. Ahmed when I hear one day, you say, hey, how you doing one day? Peace. Udo. Wow, I didn't realize how central Igbo is. Yes, very central. While I hear Igbo wasn't Bantu when I looked it up, but I kept seeing some connections. Yeah, they'll say that Igbo isn't Bantu, but and Igbo, I don't know if it is or not. I don't know if it is or not. I can say some things, but nobody's ready for that. But what the things that make the Bantu languages connect, like they say, oh, these are the connection between Bantu languages, are also in the Igbo language too, right? So if somebody says, and there are some Igbo villages that are explicitly Bantu, me and a good friend of mine, Onyemobi, he's the one that does Igbo Cybershine. We're having this conversation, and in our collective research, mainly his though, he was seeing that there are Bantu villages in Igbo land, and once you understand that, you'll start seeing why there are certain differences as far as who can do what and that kind of thing, right? But one of the ones he had noticed was that the villages that do Ekbe, right, the Ekbe masquerade, have a link to Bantu cultures that the other Igbo places don't, right? That kind of thing. Oh, Siberia just gave a donation. Where's my damn UFO? Hey, I can't find the thing. Oh, Siberia, thank you for your donation. Igade, Igeto, Nkobala Itiriaka, Gade no wa, the Gade no naked, no riet, na fault, na unquo. He said, thank you for the donation. It means a lot, keeps the channel going. Awesome. Said Kwame Brown Medicine Shell Collab. I think he thinks he's an Indian. So I think Kwame was saying he's Native American. So I don't know we can go very far in that conversation. I think that's kind of the brick wall. You know what I mean? So I love this conversation. Cool. I'm glad you do. Are you suggesting that Black Americans are still very much da 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 Africans? Yeah, hell yeah. Uh, I mean, some of them will tell you that they're Native American though, so those ones are Native American. Anything you say you are, you are. This is what it is. You know, I'll keep censoring things, then I become more curious about. Yeah, man, I'm trying to keep this channel up. I really feel like I gotta literally born in community culture. Wait, wait. I feel like you gotta be literally born in the community culture to actually speak it correctly. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I don't think it's something you can learn away from the community. It's not something you can learn in a book. As far as AAVE, from just what I think, it's not something you can learn like from a book. I do think you can learn it. I've seen people who, they that's their first language, and they ain't got no business speaking it, that kind of thing. So I think it's learnable, but there are degrees where when somebody starts speaking, you can tell where they're from. As far as AVE, you can tell where in the United States they're from. You can tell what city they're from. You can tell what kind of life they had just from the rhythm and tonality of how they speak. So all of this is also a part of Igbo too, right? It's also a part of the Igbo language too. That rhythm, there's a certain rhythm to the Igbo language that even if I master it, people will still know I'm from America, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that, that kind of thing. People will still know, okay, he's from over here, right? Until the real lookout, somebody from the ground speaks it, you'll now see the difference. Even once I mean, it's hard to say when you master a language, but once I reach like Pite Doce level, right? That kind of. Hold on, let's see what we got here. Uh, Connection with Queen Quetz, Gullah Geechee topics if possible. Oh, hey, okay, so you guys are telling me a person I can talk to. Queen, maybe I'm saying the name wrong, maybe I'm saying it right. Queen Quet, help me reach out to her. Say, hey, we were talking about you on the medicine shell stream, and he'd like to collaborate with you and this and that. Because I don't know, I'm like old school. I message people, I email them. I was told that people don't check their emails. Sometimes if I'm coming out of nowhere, they may not check the message. So I want to make sure I have a warm invite before I say, hey, this is me. We were talking about you. But if she's the person to talk to, yeah, I would love to have that conversation with her. I want to learn more about that. I also want to showcase a lot more African cultures just across the world, that kind of thing, especially how they tie back into the Igbo culture. AVs keep create new. Also, yeah, okay, so like Flyer says, also AAVE, the key is to create new slang rhythm, etc. So it's constantly changing. Very, very, very good example. That was another thing that we noticed in class. That was another thing that we noticed. With the Igbo language, it's better to understand the Igbo language almost like math, right? It's very mathematical. And why do I say it's mathematical? Because the reason that people have been picking up the language so fast in Kedu is because I said, okay, what are the digits in the Igbo language? I'm not going to teach you this symbol like Chinese. This symbol is 1,000. This symbol is whatever. I'm going to teach you 0 to 9. And then you're going to combine those in an infinite array of ways, and you can make an infinite array of numbers from 0 to 9. So as somebody who knows 0 to 9 knows what 1 octillion is, knows what 1 quintillion is, knows what 7,000 is, knows what 700 is, right? Because you know 0 to 9. So the digits in the Igbo language are the verbs, right? I'm giving you guys the secret sauce as far as Kedu. So the digits in the Igbo language are the verbs. Once you learn the verbs, if you just focus on each verb, you'll then learn to make an infinite array of phrases. And because of that, with Igbo, a lot of times somebody will say something, and even like a very good Igbo speaker won't know the definite dictionary definition of what they said, but because of the way they combine the digits, they know what they're referring to. And they know the feeling behind what they're referring to, and they know the difference, the context of what they're referring to, that kind of thing. So again, like AAVE, AAVE is always changing. It's constantly changing. There's always like new things being added, new ways of saying things. And then one of the features that AAVE has is that once you start saying like the old stuff, you start looking crazy. Like, oh, well, you still say this thing? We're saying this now, that kind of thing, right? Igbo very much has that feature. It doesn't change as fast as AAVE though, right? It doesn't change as fast, but it has that feature where you can just take its pieces and do whatever you want with it, right? That kind of thing. So with Kedu, we teach you those building blocks. We teach you 0 to 9, and then we teach you the science on how to make it all make different things happen and that kind of thing. But yeah, AAVE changes fast as hell. So yeah. Got to stop thinking about language as something that's purely learned from without as well socializing. Nice, nice, nice. I agree. Of course, we basically created Africa here in America. You said, all right. I heard that Bantu languages originated in Cameroon. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Bantu languages may have originated in the Cameroon area. May have, but they also may have originated in the area that I specifically study. And I have the reasons why I say this, but I'm not the messenger for that because I'll just say, oh, you're just trying to promote your folks, right? That kind of thing. But I think that the area between Igbo land, or let me say the Niger River and Cameroon, is probably the origin place of the Bantu languages, right? A lot of the features that, one of the things that, okay, why do I say this? One of the things that they use to tie Bantu people together is the fact that all Bantu cultures have an understanding of root farming, like farming underground, and use of iron, right? Root farming and use of iron. Well, the oldest iron smelting site in the world, right, is in Leja Enugu. It's in Igbo land, right? The oldest smelting site, iron smelting site, is there, you know, and it's there in bulk, like as in like thousands of people were doing this, or hundreds of people were doing this thing here, and there's like a bunch of remains, like factory remains, almost like bulk slags they call them, right? That kind of thing. The iron smelting and the farming underground. Those are the two things. Then you look at words like Bantu, right? Bantu. What does Bantu mean? Like one people. Mbautu. What does Mbautu mean? One people. One is Igbo, one's Bantu. So, you know, I see it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I see it. It's right there. You know, that kind of thing. So, hold on. DNA results. I'm 41% Nigerian, 31 Cameroon, Congo, Western Bantu. Interesting. Igbo is kind of neutral. Yeah, Igbo is very similar to the Bantu language, right? A lot of different things that they keep finding, like findings from like different Bantu sites, look very much like things they find in Igbo land too, like the thumb piano. I can't remember the name they have for it in Zimbabwe, but there was, I don't know, somehow I made a connection between the one in Zimbabwe and the one in Igbo land, but I think the one in Zimbabwe, the name isn't connected to Igbo because it's like K something, like, I don't know, it's K something, and the Igbo one is Mbaka. So, yeah. Chinyere Njokweri. Hey, I just missed where she was. Ndewo. Hi, Chief. Ndewo. Anyanwu ụtụtụ. Kedu ka ị dị? Man. Anything. U.S. culture is highly influenced by Africa by way. Okay, the U.S. Okay, cool. I noticed in AAVE repeat things to stress importance. Yes. Forgot what that's called. Okay, so yes, in AAVE, they're repeating things to stress importance. A lot of Igbo is like, there's so much in the Igbo language that pertains to emphasis, right? So you can say one word and you can communicate how you feel about that word, what's going on at the moment, what you think is going to happen as a result of that word, and so forth. And then you can like add more and more and more and more parts to make it like this bigger thing, right? So I'm going to use an example, right? If I say, okay, use ga, right? If I say ga, by the way, I'm giving you guys secret sauce for Kedu. Ga, if I say ga, ga is go, right? Ga is go, to go. Iga and ga, that kind of thing, right? Ga is go. If I say gawo, that means you're going, but wherever you're going is going to hurt you, or it's going to cause a negative effect. Lebe onye na-agawo. Leni na-agawo. Onye na-agawo ebe. That kind of thing, right? Wherever you're going, like Vladimir Putin na-agawo ebe ndi Ukraine, you know, that kind of thing. Gawo, right? If I say cha, cha means shine, right? So if I say ga and cha, gacha, that means you've done it all. Like you've done it in a shining way. You've revealed the whatever it is the ga was intended to do. It has revealed itself in full. O gachana, onye na gacha, that kind of thing. So you maybe I sent you the store and then I got you you've done it all. But if I say gawo-chan, gawo-chan, that means that you've gone to that place, you're doing something negative, or you have a negative intention, and then that negativity showed itself to everybody, right? Right? If I say ga and fe, if I put fe in the end, or fu, let's do fu. Fu means that you whatever the verb is, you've done it and gone to the point of like you're lost, right? Like gafu, let's like go get lost, right? Gafu chan, like you're deep in the bush. Like your intention was to go get lost, and you've done it to the point where we can't even find you. Gafu chana, that kind of thing. Or maybe that person is long gone. It's a way of saying long gone, right? So there's a bunch of words that add emphasis, but then the way you say it, right? The emotion you put into the word. Sometimes if you repeat the word, it adds emphasis, right? All these different things. Nagaga, that means going. Nagaga, onye nagaga, right? Nje, trip. Onye njenje, like an explorer, somebody who flutters around the place, that kind of thing, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's a lot of learning Igbo is learning how to express yourself, like to a degree that I don't think English has. And I see elements of it in AAVE too, right? Like I've been using the example going, right? Is it good or is it good, right? Okay, good is a whole different thing than good, right? Even though good also has a different connotation that we're not going to go into right now, right? That kind of thing. So yeah, it's, the comedic potential of Igbo. Oh man, what? I was in Igbo too. We were just cracking up making these like gigantic words. And it's funny because the bigger the word is, like the more ingredients you add, the more we enter the point of exaggeration to the point that it's funny, right? That kind of thing. Right? That kind of thing. No, Igbo's hilarious. There's a lot of things that somebody will say in Igbo, and if you say it in English, it's not funny. All of a sudden it stops being funny again. All right? Like, something happens, somebody go, okay, lecha or lewo. And then everybody starts laughing, right? Lewo just means, okay, look. You know what I'm saying? But I said the wool is there. So something bad was going to happen, and it was floating in the air, and it happened. I said, okay, look, there it is. That kind of thing. So, but again, it doesn't translate. You can't explain jokes, and it doesn't translate well. In Igbo, it translates well because it's visual. You see it happen, that kind of thing. So if y'all got questions, let's ask the questions. Otherwise, I'm about to hop. Let's see here. I think cryptic to outsiders, a role to being around colonizers. Okay, yeah. So I think AAVE moves fast and is more cryptic to outsiders as a result of being around colonizers. So they don't catch on. I believe it. That makes sense. I believe it. Yeah, AAVE changes fast, very fast. That kind of thing. Repeat things. Stress. Oahu is one of those Bantu villages. Yeah, Oahu is one of those, but I've heard other Igbos. Oahu people aren't Igbo. Yeah. Yeah. There's towards Abia State area. A lot of those villages are what you would call Bantu, but the language they speak and the language we speak is the same. So it tells me that Igbo is some type of bridge between those two culture groups, right? It's Igbo East and Igbo West. Shit. Black American, I'm learning Twi. Comes so naturally. Only thing that trips me up is the fact that it's tonal. And that's where it gets hard. So Scotty, remember what I said earlier? You can look at it as tonal, or you can look at it as having a rhythm. If you want to master the tonality of Twi, listen to somebody like an elder, or if they're masquerades, speak a masquerade. Listen to them speak and sing the rhythm that masquerade or that elder is singing, right? Sing the rhythm that the masquerade or maybe their apex leader, sing the way they're singing it. Don't just say what he's saying, sing it. The tone will come naturally after that, the tone will come naturally. Circular. Yeah, Igbo feels circular, like painting a picture. Okay, dope, very dope. Yeah, I agree. That doesn't translate at all. Compliment realize that black people cuss so Oh, yeah, Chimoge, good point. You know, I was actually thinking about that same thing because I was like, okay, what are the emotive words in English? And they're curse words, you know, they're curse words. But there's this in Western European culture, you're not supposed to show too much emotion, right? So if emotion is up here or down here, it's bad, right? You gotta be that kind of thing. You're not supposed to show too much emotion in Western European cultures. And so I think that carries over with the emotive words become curse words, that kind of thing, right? That kind of thing. So just a personal theory. I'm not a linguist. So away from Benue. Oh, okay. Bantu broke away from Benue Congo. Bantu are a meta ethnicity, yes, that has a lot of ethnic groups within it, absolutely. So yeah, but yeah, no, some very interesting things. And then there's a lot of Bantu influences in Igbo culture as well. I'll make a video of this in days to come, but I was privy to the fact that the Ekbe society and even in Sibiti are Bantu things. They come from the Cameroon area up, and Congo actually is what it said. It came from the Congo area north to Igbo land. So in Sibiti, which is very popular, Ekbe, which does in Sibiti, those different things are likely of Bantu origin. You know, so it's not just one thing going this way, it's this one coming this way again. An elder from Arochukwu explained, addressed as Da. My name, what's the significance of Da? The significance of Da. Da is of course, like you said, Da is the formal name for a woman. So you call a woman Da, you call a man De, right? You call a woman Da, you call an elder man De, elder woman Da. Da is very interesting because I'm still looking at it because you then see it in Ada, you then see it in all these different words that pertain to women, right? All these different words that pertain to women have this da word, right? So, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it means other than being an honorific for women. You don't just go, hey, Cheryl, hey, da, something, 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 right? But I don't know. I don't know what Da. I don't know the science behind Da. So I'm still looking into that but I have noticed that Da, like the word Da, pops up in a lot of different places, and they always pertain to women. Like Ada is my clearest example. You know. So thank you for that question. That was a good one. De da da that kind of thing. Perfect. De like with ndewo. Ndewo de. Yeah, I don't know if it's the same day. Yeah, I don't know if it's the same day as in day one. But this is the reason I'm not the teacher with Kedu, though I had to do a lot of substituting this last time. Right? I'm still learning myself. I don't really know the metrics on a lot of the greetings like Ndewo, Ibolachi, all those things. I have my guesses, but I'm not really qualified. I'm not a linguist as far as that goes. I'm just a guy who's interested in language and I'm pointing out things that I see that are obvious, you know. And as I explained to you, they become obvious too. Adesi, that's a good one too. I think I need to pick up my Igbo. Don't be exposed so much since my father passed on. Hold on, my father passed. Never been to Nigeria either. All right, well, join us at Kedu. And I'm sorry to hear about your father. But yeah, join us at Kedu. I just spoke to a student with a very similar, unless you're the same person, I spoke to a student with a very similar story to yours. Like pretty identical as far as like sequence of events. So yeah. But all right, guys, that's it. This has been a great discussion. It's something that I'm really excited about. It's something that I'll be making videos about in the future with a little bit more detail and more research and things like that, right? I'm probably, I don't know, let me put it this way. You know, I'm a bit of a language wise. I'm a bit of a learner when it comes to AAVE and a bit of a learner when it comes to Igbo. But one of the things that's obvious is these parallels that I was able to see, and a lot of the students had pointed out for me and things like that because they are closer to either or culture oftentimes than even I myself. But I'll be doing a formal video on this exact topic. I'll be going into different details and looking into the history. That's kind of one of the reasons I want to talk to somebody who is from the Geechee culture and so forth. Just different things like that. But just kind of going into some of the history of these phrases. And I know there's a lot of them that are hidden that I haven't encountered yet, right? I'll be digging them up too. So that being said, that's everything, guys. So if you're new to the stream, I've been told that some of the people are coming for the first time. So if you're new to the stream, my name is Derek Ofadorongo, and I cover Igbo spirituality, Odinani Igbo. I cover Igbo cosmology, culture, history, and everything like that, right? And also topics that touch on different cultures in the wider Igbo or African diaspora. If you're interested in supporting what I'm doing, I'll put my Patreon link up here. You can join the Patreon at patreon.com/the medicine shell. If I typed everything right? You can join the Patreon at patreon.com/the medicine shell. So all patrons have access to my full in-house library. So the library is, if I wasn't using my phone, I'd kind of try to show it to you. It has hundreds of articles, books, written by Nzes, Dibias, explorers, all these different people, researchers, things like that, going into the different topics that I discuss, be it Igbo spirituality, Igbo cosmology, all these different things. And it's all sorted by topic, right? So if I'm saying anything and it sounds like BS, you can click you can click the folder that pertains to the topic and you can see if I'm telling you the truth or not, right? Or where the hell I'm getting it from. Or you can read things that maybe I haven't even gotten to and I haven't even shared because I haven't read everything in there, right? So you can jump ahead of me and say, hey, I want to see a video on Agumiri, the Agu of water. And he hasn't talked about it yet. So I'm gonna just click the Miri folder or the Agu folder and put it together, that kind of thing. So that's available to every single patron at every single level. After that, we have the Odinani calendar. So the Igbo calendar differs from the Roman calendar that you're currently using, or you're probably using now. I've actually switched to the Igbo calendar, and I'll explain how in just a second. So you get access to that, and it all populates on your Google Calendar. So you'll see which day is Eke, Ori, Afo, and Nkwo. Those are the 4 market days in Igbo cosmology. These are also the 4 routes by which an individual enters the world. These are also the 4 elements and the 4 cardinal directions as according to our ancestors. So if you want to understand time, the way our ancestors understood time, it does that there. It also tells you the moons, because the Igbo calendar is lunar. So we go by the moons, and each moon has a different significance, a different name, a different meaning. So you can take a look and see the moon that you're born in, what that's all about, the market day, so on and so forth. That's also available to all patrons. And then for Ndieze, the higher tier patrons, you have access to what has to be well over a week's worth of exclusive content. I'm going to start calling it exclusive content. We have a group study where I take topics and I go very, very in depth as far as the topics go. The last one we did was how to make an altar come alive, right? How to make an altar come alive. So I've posted this up now. So if you're an AZ tier patron, the replay is up. This is like the type of exclusive content you're going to get as far as that goes. Then of course it's a good place to be. Who doesn't want to be a patron for the Medicine Shell? It's a thing to do. I've been blessed to have a very close community. A lot of you guys are like connected to each other now. A lot of very creative people, artists doing different things. And it all just kind of comes together there as far as the Patreon being the central link. So all that is at patreon.com/the medicine shell. And then finally, if you're interested in learning the Igbo language, I have an Igbo language school, www.kedu.me, Kedu, right? And at kedu.me, you can sign up. There's a survey. So if you want to know what level you should take, there's a survey. We take a look at your answers and we recommend a level, right? Every student is going to be paired with a coach and an instructor. Kedu is a safe space, judgment-free zone. Everybody who's a part of Kedu completely understands that any environment I create, I'm creating it to make sure that everybody who enters is comfortable, right? Everybody is comfortable, accommodated, and understood. So we approach learning from that perspective. We also approach learning from the ancestral philosophy that learning comes from the inside out, not the outside in, right? So if you've tried to learn Igbo before, come do this experience. Promise you it'll be radically different and it'll be effective, right? I've been seeing that the method is very effective. And so forth. So all of that is available. These are all the things that I'm working on. And then I got some stuff coming out for the New Yams, how I'm going to be kicking off New Yams. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that later, but I'm very tired and I want to go to bed now. So, all right, guys. Onogade, onogeto, ngobla no tiriaka, ogade no wa, ogade no neke, no rie, nafo, nankwo. He said, take care, guys. See you on Patreon. All right. Somebody said restate where the Igbo class is. Learn Igbo at me. All right. I can't find the damn off button. Okay, there we go.